Everyone there in a moment. Welcome to Pine Grove. And anyways, blessings, everyone. Blessings. Yeah, it's 6:01 p.m. I'm, just trying different kind of format. Some of it I just can't put on YouTube because they will copyright me, and sometimes it doesn't matter because they'll just give you a, they'll just take they'll add ads is what they'll do, and that's okay. If they want to do that, that's fine. Usually it's an experiment. They will tell you whether it's copyrighted and whether you can use it or not. But anyways, so with that, I hope everyone's doing okay. It's Friday. It's Friday. It's the weekend. The weekend's here. Yeah. And so is the Sabbath. Started at sundown. Anyone who uses Saturday, which is, to me, the right day. But I'm not going to judge anybody else for any other day. Of course not. You can, worship your Father anytime, anyway, anyhow you like. No, I do not judge people that way. I may have, by the law. I was by the law before, but we just can't be held by that anymore because we're flawed. We got that wonderful curse, that Adam and Eve, our founding fathers and mother, father and mother, or daddy and mommy. Anyways, I hope your evening is going okay. I know I keep saying this, and I just don't find the time, but I'd like to do something this weekend. I hope everyone's, up for that. I just want to talk about. I got a subject in my head, and it's about Christianity. Who's calling themselves Christians, and who's pretending to be Christians, and who are Christians, and what that means, and so on and so forth. Because a lot of people have their own ideas about that. I just want to run that past everyone. I know it's a touchy subject for a lot, but I'm that kind of guy. I don't care if it's touchy to you. I mean, if it needs to be discussed, the Holy Spirit will put that in my head, and he's been putting that in my head the past couple days. I think it should be talked about. But in any case, well, people, I guess the government is now open. Yeah. Government is now open, at least until February 15th. And this one from the week, Ann Coulter. This is the lady that is not allowed in Canada in many places because of her beliefs, because of her opinions, whatever, the way she talks. And just, I guess they think that she's got a lot of hate-filled speech, when she comes out. But I haven't really listened to her. All I know is the name, and that's about it. But Ann Coulter calls Trump the biggest wimp ever to serve as president over the shutdown deal. Now, that's the kind of extreme that she's not allowed to speak in Canada about, calling him a wimp. I'm disappointed. I know I am disappointed. I thought that he would go as long as it would take. He is a businessman after all, and I'm sure he's got, little admins here and there and contracts that he can put in and take out, whatever. But I was disappointed. I mean, World Watching was talking to me, and he says, well, yeah, I think the whole reason he gave in was that I guess they were closing down an airport or two or something like that because the guys that actually, I forget what they call it. They look at the radar, I forget the name. They always forget something, So anyways, they were calling out sick and stuff like that. And, you know, this happened before. This happened in the Reagan era. And we all know what happened in the Reagan era with those, what do you call them? They were protesting or striking federal workers. It was in their contract that they weren't allowed to do that. And so they were fired. They were fired. And I think that is what Trump should have done. He should have fired those pansies. I mean, yes, first of all, I don't understand why they weren't being paid, because they are not unessential or inessential personnel, however you want to call that. They are required, you know, if we're going to keep our planes flying, you know, keep the cargo going, the mail, whatever, passengers, you know, business meetings, whatever, you know, whatever. Forest. So he should have at least fired them. Not give in. Because, anyways, so temporary deal will reopen government. And in the meantime, all these other pansy waits, you know, these prima donnas in the federal government who have now missed 2 paychecks, you know, boo-hoo-hoo. You know, join the rest of civilization. I just have a really bad opinion of federal workers and the amount of government that we have right now. It was a good time to cut it off, to cut these little sores off so that we can, you know, get some healing. We have too many federal workers. You know that your tax dollars are paying for this huge, enormous government. And we couldn't change that. And I'll talk to you about something else that's going on too, that, you know, Congress or the Senate or whatever are not allowing. And when do we get a say about it? This is a government that is supposed to be ruling and making decisions that we want. No? Well, that's how it should be, should it not? I mean, they work for us. We pay them to run, you know, this government smooth, whatever, however it works. And they've gotten too big. And I'm disappointed, you know, that Trump, and maybe there's obviously a bigger picture here. And he just gave in. He gave in, and I don't think he could have. He could have fired all those people and got those positions filled immediately. There are other people out of work, you know, and the government is not, you know, stopping or going for those people. Some of those people, their unemployment has run out. There are no jobs, even though Trump says that he's making them. So, yeah, where are the steel factories that he said was up again? Are they up again? You know, make steel walls, okay? I know you won't believe me, but I was actually going to write a book about 20, 30 years ago, and more like 30. And it was going to be called Project America. Because times were bad back then, too. You know, people looking for a job, people out of work, you know, no income coming in, you know. You know, we could boo-hoo all we wanted. We weren't getting jobs unless there were jobs. You know, we knew that we only had so much money and then that was it. I mean, these federal workers, I mean, they get pensions, they get the best health care. I don't. Do you? I know I'm not going to get a pension. I can't afford a pension. I can't afford to put savings away. And people around here, even in Connecticut, you know, probably the second richest state in the union, most of the people here are paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of people here are using what savings they have to live, you know, the way they're used to living comfortably. And that's going to be a sore spot too, because that's going to run out. Yeah, we're in big trouble. And I think one of the reasons, one of the things that we could do is cut this enormous, monumental mountain down. Start hewing, start breaking it up, man. Come up with there's so many jobs that they need in the health industry, in the medical industry. Retrain them. I don't mind my tax money going to retrain these people to fill positions that are hard to find or are hard to fill. Come on, man. So government is reopened until February 15th. Then what? Then you're going to, what? Do the same thing all over again and then cave in again? I'm disappointed that he caved in. I'm disappointed that he did that. I don't care if the people missed, 2 paychecks, missed a mortgage payment. Where are their savings? They make a lot of money. Okay? They need to cut back on their standard of living. Maybe if they live more moderately. I've seen a lot of these state workers and federal workers. They make good money. Care what anybody else says. They do. I've checked into it. Here was the first one I wanted to put out there. Okay. Yeah, Israel and Syria exchange fire at tense border overnight. Now we got, more wars and rumors of wars. This could get pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty tense, but we've had tense situations before, and, luckily, nothing has happened. The war machine is still out there. They still want and need a war to make money. Okay, and that's all that it's about. The heck with, human lives. We need to make money. That's all it's about. So they, create and make up things. And anyways, let's hear a minute or two.
Israeli troops say they identified shots fired from across the border towards them. They fired back and there were no injuries among IDF forces. Also today, in light of the tension on the northern and southern fronts, the Iron Dome, Israel's missile interception system, was deployed in the center of the country. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said yesterday that Israel is prepared for any military scenario. With me in studio to break this down, our defense correspondent Jonathan Regev and our senior Middle East correspondent Mohammed Al-Qasim. Thank you both for joining me for this. Jonathan, first off, what else do we know about this incident yesterday, overnight?
It was some kind of an enclave still in Syrian, in Israeli territory, but across the border. Sometimes the border, the fence itself is not on the border, but a little bit to the west inside Israeli territory. And there's a little enclave which is still in Israeli territory, but past the fence. This is where these forces were operating, and shots were fired. No one was injured. Shots were fired back.
IDF force.
All right, so yeah, somewhere down here, okay, and they said that there was some up there, but anyway, yeah. So shots were fired, nobody was injured, but definitely an escalation. If Syria gets involved with Israel, it's not going to look good for Syria. Israel defeated Syria and all the other surrounding nations that went against them. When was that? In 60, 6-day war, whatever that was. I mean, Israel's, Air Force alone took out a few of these countries before, it even got started. And there was a lot of other things. Maybe we could talk about that sometime, the 6-day war. There was even stories from the opposing armies of miraculous things that went on in that 6-day war. It's something to look at. God's chosen people? Yeah. Yes. Okay, so Trump. Yeah. And here we have from the week, U.S. diplomats leave Venezuela amid mounting tensions with Washington. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what's going on there. Washington did get their way, and they have a president in there now that they can deal with, supposedly. And so why diplomats are leaving, I don't know. Rising tensions between the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and the U.S. President Trump recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to power as the interim president of Venezuela on Wednesday, spurring Maduro to call home all Venezuelan diplomats from the U.S. Okay, close Venezuela's D.C. embassy and order all U.S. diplomats to leave the country by the weekend. So, to tell you the truth, folks, I really don't understand this right now. I don't. I thought there was an election, and I guess one guy just made the claim to power, says that he is the rightful ruler or whatever, duly elected, and so on and so forth. So things just continue in Venezuela to deteriorate. I think the U.S. should just leave them the hell alone. I mean, we used to, get oil from them or buy oil from them, but as the story goes, if you want to listen to a story about Venezuela, go to Florida Maki YouTube channel, Florida Maki. And I don't know how to quite spell the last part of it, M-A-Q something, and he'll tell you, just Google that in his channel. I've listened to him, and he's pretty up to speed on what's going on there. I'd probably have to go there for the weekend and see what he has to say about this, but he covers that pretty good. Right now, with all this stuff, the political stuff, this stuff just makes my head spin. I hate politics. Trying to keep up with, liars, stealers, murderers, thieves. I mean, it's all around us, And I like to talk about the Christians over the weekend, too. The Christian. What is a Christian? What does it mean? Who are the Christians? Who they claim to be? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, then we talk about things that were going on 2 days ago with Lady Gaga coming out and calling out Mike Pence's wife as a Christian that should be ashamed of herself, and all this stuff because she doesn't want the LGBT or TQ, whatever you want to call those initials. I don't follow up on that. That she doesn't allow them, won't teach to them. They're not allowed to. And I don't blame her. We're to separate ourselves from those people. Those people who out and out, literally, claim to be Christians, but she wasn't being hateful. She's just doing what she's told. And I have to, add this. I don't dislike the person. I dislike the sin. God can't, I don't know where to go on this because Jesus came, to deliver us from that sin, past, present, and future, but we don't purposely go out there and commit sin. That's one of the things that we're going to get into too. Even, some in my own family. I'm basically the only one who's born again. I have all of them. I'm trying my hardest, and I'm letting the Holy Spirit keep my mouth shut when he's doing the work and Jesus is doing the work, so I don't mess it all up. But there's one in my family that she's just wrong. She won't won't read the Bible because it was written by men. She hates the word Christian because she's offended by, I don't know, what Christians say that she can or can't do. And then I ask her, well, what do you think about all this? She says, God knows my heart. And in the end, he'll know that I'm a good person and I'll be okay. Well, no, you won't be okay. I'm sorry to say that, but you won't. The thing that you must do in order to be saved is to be born again, which means you do just like Jesus did. Symbolically, you go to the baptism of water first. You believe, well, actually, you have to believe in Jesus first, and who he was, what he came to do for you, and symbolically get baptized. I mean, that's actually dying, going under the ground, which is the submersion of water, and then coming back out, which is rising. It symbolizes what Jesus did 3 days and 3 nights in his tomb. He defeated death. Death has no sting on us all. But we have to believe it. We have to continually try to be repentive and seriously, not just in your heart. Oh, well, I try to repent, or I say I repent, I'm sorry, and then you go and do it again 2 days later. Now, what will change is your attitude towards that sin each time. Now, it may take a while to stop that sinful act or whatever it is, but each time you go and repent to the Lord, if it doesn't hurt more and more that you actually sinned again in the same thing, and there's sometimes, even I have been brought to tears because I went and sinned that same sin. And this is a constant battle, but that's to me is a true. I don't know, what do you call it? True repentant person. Instead of, I'm sorry, and then go and do it again tomorrow, and there's no feeling, no emotional response from you whatsoever. That just means that you're not repentant. Oh, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, until the Lord comes and he knows my heart and I'll be okay. I'm sorry, it's not that way. But I'll talk more about that. Yeah, heated discussion because nobody wants to change. They feel comfortable. They're, in any case. And this, that Roger Stone was arrested by the FBI. And in this headline from WND, he says that I will not bear false witness against Trump. And so there's this 4-minute clip here of an interview that you could barely hear because mainly, I'm sure there are a lot of paid performers out there by Soros and the globalists, hooting and hollering, saying, go to jail and all other kinds of things. You'll hear, I'm only going to play a minute or two because it's very hard to hear. You will be able to hear it if you, tune your ears to tune out the hecklers. So, and it says right down here, surrounded by hecklers shouting, lock him up. Former Trump advisor Roger Stone declared Friday after a court appearance in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that he will fight politically motivated charges of obstruction, false statements, and witness tampering brought on by special counsel Robert Mueller in his investigation of alleged Trump campaign collusion with Russia. I thought this was dead and over with. Now they're going to go after all his constituents or whatever, actually had him arrested. So let's listen, first minute and 18 I got down here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As I have always said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. After a 2-year inquisition, the charges today relate in no way to Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or any other illegal act in connection with the 2016 campaign. I am falsely accused of making false statements during my testimony to the House Intelligence Committee. That is incorrect.
Okay, I can't hear it a second time, It's just very annoying. And that's the reason why they're out there. I mean, still going after the Russian collusion, So what's going to be the charge when he actually, personally, I don't know about you. I don't have any problem with anybody. I don't have any problem with the Chinese, the Russians. I I have problems with the things that they do. I don't have a problem with them. You know, they're people, just like us, people. So if we can, you know, if Trump can somehow make some kind of historical effort to go over there and end up being allies with Russia, can you believe that? In my whole lifetime, it's always been the Russians are the bad guys. The Chinese are the bad guys. Sorry, folks, Chinese own most of this country now, and this is all just a stage anyway. You're enjoying this, the play yet? You enjoying the storyline? Things getting a little tense for you? Yeah, it builds up. It builds up until we come to the dramatic conclusion, right? All right, so let's move on to other news from the end time headlines. Mount St. Helens could erupt again. Scientists observe a lava dome rising at 5 meters a day. I don't know what 5 meters a day is. What's 5 meters? Any American know? So on May 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens erupted in the U.S. state of Washington. The blast, which measured 5 on the volcanic explosive index, has been declared as the most disastrous volcanic eruption in modern U.S. history. A huge column rose 80,000 feet. I've seen ones lately rising to 55. And there's ones that go off and are still, you know, going off. So, folks, we know that those things are increasing. So, in the atmosphere, and deposited ash in 11 states. I saw that. We actually taped that mountain just, you know, being blown apart. That was the one, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, killing at least 57 people and causing more than $1 billion in damage. So scientists are closely watching that. There's a lot of other things to watch for too. But this I thought was pretty, I mean, good. I mean, the sign reads closed today. Today is the day of mourning in the state of New York. Now, you know what's happened in New York this past week. They passed that bill, right? Legalizing abortion right here up until the point of birth in New York State. Up to the point of birth. That means this baby can be, I don't know, 9 months, you know, in there forming, ready to come out. I mean, what are they saying? Now she could be into labor and just kill the baby right then and there. I mean, murder's murder. I mean, whether you kill it as an embryo, which I believe is still a life. The Bible even talks about the embryo. The Lord knew, he was speaking to someone in there, I forget who it was, maybe it was John, I don't know, that he knew him even in an embryo, in his mother's belly, you know? So, anyways, my opinion is that, we're all, you know, spirit beings put in a soul and then put in a human body. To do what we Christians, you know, think that we need to, you know, we need to go through, you know, we need to go through, we need to be tested and tried. That's what this whole thing is about. Tested and tried and found worthy to, you know, go to heaven and be with Christ the rest of our lives, forever and ever. No, he's not going to make a Lucifer again. You know, just poof, there he is. There's Lucifer, the most beautiful angel that God has ever made. Perfect in so many ways. Apparently, it all went to Lucifer's head, you know, giving us that power of reasoning and, you know, free thought and all that stuff too. So that's what brought him down. Pride, whatever else was there. But so this bookstore owner closed the shop and sent a message to Democratic legislator and Governor Andrew Cuomo. John Speed, owner of the book Scout in Syracuse, announced Wednesday he has shuttered his bookstore for the day to mark a day of mourning in New York following the passage of the radical bill signed into law Tuesday night by Cuomo. I'm pro-life mainly because I'm a Christian. Well, that's one thing. I'm sorry, as a Christian, you must be pro-life. Thou shalt not kill, says the Lord, okay? It's in one of the 10 Commandments. And though we're not held by the law because, we're stupid, people, we do stupid things and we're flesh. The flesh is very weak. But, yes, we have to be pro-life. Yes, it just makes sense. That boundary of moral and immoral just makes sense. And I don't have to explain it to everybody. You should know. So anyway, and he goes on to sentence, and because I understand that murder is wrong. So the point being, some people argue that, the length of the making of the baby. I wish I had, woman here to explain that. Gestation, whatever it is that happens, the growth of that being from an embryo, and does what it does. But anyway, yeah, up to the point, where it's just about ready to be born. Yeah, come on, man. That is murder. You could argue a point about the embryo, and though not with me or any other Christian that's a true Christian. There's, I'm just saying that there are Christians out there that think that there's, they can hang around with, love, talk about, people who are confused and think one thing's okay. Lord talks about it a lot in the gospel about this, interaction between male and female and so on and so forth. And he doesn't like it at all. It's not normal. God blessed the marriage union. God blessed, he made man and made woman, made them separately, but took, the rib from man, made woman. So, anyways, and then for to help, not to rule over, not to, I'm not going to talk about that now. Sorry about that. Yeah, so the baby in the womb is a baby. It's a human life. Yeah, so even from up the Bible says, that the baby womb is a baby. It's speaking of the law itself, known as the Reproductive Health Act. Speed said it essentially nullifies Clinton-era standard of safe, legal, and rare, because abortion is certainly not going to be rare. Anyways, the story goes on if you want to. End Time Headlines does the same thing that a couple of us do. Yeah, we go get the news and give you links so you can go read more about it. They're building Super-EMP bombs for blackout warfare. Now, y'all remember when they had the fires in California, I was like 2, maybe 3 years ago now, when they had the ones way up there in Washington and then in Alberta, Canada. Big, expensive, rich neighborhood that was, gave a lot of revenue back to Canada. And there was some talk that the reason they did that is to, back the people off, get the people out, because there were maneuvers going on. There was talk, and I believe, I'm not sure which show it was. Anyway, so I'm not sure what show it is, so I'll just not name things off the top of my head, but they were practicing battlefield EMP warfare and other miscellaneous stuff. That's what they were doing in Washington State 2 to 3 years ago under the premise of those fires. So don't think that it's just going to, that it will take out all these electronics. And there are ways that you can protect yourself. And I'm not really getting tin foil and wrapping a cardboard box and sealing it. And I guess somewhere along the line you could try and make a ground for it. But you know what I'm saying? A connection to the ground. I don't know how to explain that in layman's terms, but so most of the will not affect those things protected. And just go research, Google Faraday cage. And you can make your own simply with tinfoil. So don't worry about protecting your stuff. Learn how to make it. You can buy stuff, already made Faraday cages, whatnot, with your phones in them, whatever, your other charging devices, batteries. I got a lot of stuff that, like I said, I had to go into use. So anyway, several nations, including China and Russia, are building powerful nuclear bombs designed to produce super electromagnetic pulse. So these waves are capable of devastating all electronics, from computers to electric grids for hundreds of miles. According to a newly released congressional study, a report by the non-defunct Commission to Assess the Threat to the United States from EMP attack for the first time reveals details on how nuclear EMP weapons are integrated into military doctrines. I mean, look what happened to that ship. Okay, remember that ship in the Black Sea when the Russian plane flew right over the ship? Don't know whether it was a destroyer or what type of vessel it was actually, but they took that ship down. And you remember that's also when Obama parked at least 8 or 9 of our aircraft carriers off the East Coast in one place. Man, I saw that story and I'm saying, oh no, I hope they're going to move them now. I mean, don't they remember Pearl Harbor? Come on. But of course, you know what Obama was trying to do. He has destroyed a lot of things like that in our country. Let leaders of opposing armies or terrorist groups to go free. Just open the gates in Guantanamo Bay, and other prisons. That man, I mean, if you're going to go arrest this Stone guy for supposedly leaking information or whatever he did, it is such a little thing. It is such a little thing compared to what Obama did. He committed treason multiple times. And why is this Soros not in jail somewhere? A lot of countries are fed up with his mingling and the taking down of other countries. Why is he not arrested for crimes against humanity? Maybe even Obama should have that one linked to him too, including Clinton. Anyways, people, be prepared for these things. There's only so much you can do, and of course, let's rely on prayer to our Lord, our Father. He has made a promise to protect us. If you are truly a believer of Jesus Christ, Father Almighty, and the Holy Spirit, you are protected under the blood that Jesus spilled on your behalf. And you don't need anything here. You don't need it. It will be supplied to you. You will be protected. But yes, even though we are protected, it doesn't mean that we just stop and not do anything that, just because of that. I mean, maybe the Lord is telling you to go buy some tin foil, some, I don't know, lightweight, double it up, buy some heavyweight and wrap these things up. Maybe he's telling you to do that. He's not going to automatically, he could, because he could do anything. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? We still got to be prepared. We really do. And yes, we rely on, I rely on everything from the Lord, whatever that I need that, and not what I want. That's a big difference there too. But this is something else. There's other things going on in Florida too. Yesterday there was a tornado in central Florida, and I'm trying to get a hold of my brother. That happened yesterday, and what was it? Lake County, Florida. That's where my brother lives. So I have not heard from him. I sent the message out. Just weird, you know. Wintertime. Do they have tornadoes in Florida in the wintertime? I guess they do now. And on top of that, you got this. You got these alligators that are going dormant, turn their snouts up in frozen swamp. Yeah, that cold front moved all the way down there. I don't know about right now, because you know we've hit the 50s yesterday, and it wasn't too warm today. But so they turn their snouts up. So freezing temperatures in North Carolina have triggered over a dozen. Yeah, I guess it wasn't as far as Florida. Over a dozen cold-blooded creatures to turn to brumation. It's a type of temporary hibernation specific to reptiles. Yeah, I know they could, you know, sit for long periods of time, you know, soaking in or getting energy from the sun, you know. Anyways, I don't normally study the habits of these creatures. So on Monday, at least 18 American alligator snouts were seen exposed and frozen within the Chalette River Swamp Park's waters, causing some to scratch their heads about the creature's choices. Though the sight of over a dozen gator noses is a strange spectacle to the average individual. The park described as North Carolina's only privately operated, licensed, and certified alligator and reptile rescue sanctuary. Clarified that the reptiles were alive, well, and using a survival mechanism known as brumation. Not seen this video, but yeah. Yeah, they don't look alive. They just that snout out of the water so they can breathe. They're not moving. Finally saw the trees there. All right. Oh, well, let's get down to the end here. So there's a couple things that happened that I, you know, not sure about. That's, you know, with the government stuff. This stuff, you know, permanent war. Okay, this is from IntelliHub. Congress forbids NATO withdrawal. Okay, the Democrat-controlled House followed the Senate yesterday in passing legislation forbidding the president from withdrawing from NATO and affirming undenying U.S. support for the outdated Cold War alliance. Is NATO really about defense? Or is it a jobs program for the military-industrial complex? I mean, yeah, you know, NATO was basically, you know, a bunch of countries getting together to, well, it's called the Northern Alliance, I don't know, something like that. So they got together, and it was basically to keep Russia away from any of those countries that were part of NATO. And you hear about NATO. We used to hear about NATO a year ago. Always they're out there doing their maneuvers, trying to provoke, you know, Russia. You know, try to show off their military might, so that Russia will, you know, be a good boy and not do anything wrong. So, yeah, our president wanted out of that because there's another, you know, more of our tax dollars gone into NATO, and it's also in the UN. I don't understand why we have the UN anymore either. All they do is freaking demand certain regulations and everything else that basically just give more money to them to do whatever, put in each other's pockets. I don't know. There's, you know, somebody would have to research that, exactly what the UN does. Fines. I remember Germany being fined. There's a lot of countries over there in the EU that get fined. I mean, one of them was about a car company. Maybe it was the German car company. Now this is like two plus, maybe even more than that, 3-4 years ago, when I was doing the news. And the man that was co-sponsor of this news, I'll call him Mr. T. He used to come out with the economic report and news like that. And one of them was, I mean, this company was being fined probably $1 billion for some kind of defect or whatever. And so, okay, so if they pay the fine, who gets the $1 billion? Obviously, it goes to the UN. So this is the type of, what do you call that? Blackmail, when somebody's bullying somebody, and they get money for it. I don't know what you call that. But that's what the UN is now, anyway. And we're still waiting for somebody to come out of the east there and whatever, become the Antichrist, with their beast system, because that's what Trump is really, against right now. He's against these globalists. All these globalists they're ganging up on Trump because he's a nationalist. He believes in his one country and that they should be who they were before, the strongest militarily, economically, and that's what he wants back. And I guess that's what majority of the people want back too. But the globalists want America to fall, like Obama, and they almost got it. If they would have got Clinton in there before Trump, I think they would have definitely had it then. I think they would have got us. They would have taken us so far down that we would not been able to fight our way back. And then you're going to have that, New World Order, that beast system, all, that and the one world religion that, Pope Francis was and still is, volleying for. Yeah, we still got to worry about that stuff. So, I don't know if I watched this or not. Yeah, this is Rand Paul. I don't think we're going to go into that. And one of our last, we got 2 more articles. This one from Natural News. Microsoft now conspiring with pro-Monsanto's front group, NewsGuard, to censor all anti-GMO news on mobile devices. Okay, people, so I'll be prepared for that. I mean, that's another thing that, first of all, Trump, please, I'm going to pray for Trump because he needs help right now. He needs a lot of help. And we need to pray, and I'm going to pray that this GMO stuff, this NewsGuard, this tracking, this global stuff, I want our internet back. It's ours. Why would we give it to the United Nations? What are they going to do? All they're going to do, that's part of the global thing. So they're just going to shut off. If people start uprising here or there, talking about this or that, and they don't like it, they can just shut you off. And that's what they're going to do. More censorship. Just going to shut you off. They don't want us talking about anything that's the truth. They want us back on our heels and fearing and cowering in corners. Christians don't do that. They don't. Some of them, claim that they are to love everyone without exception to any point, and that's all you should be doing. But they're wrong. I mean, yes, we are to love each other. First of all, that's a commandment from Jesus. To love each other. But you could still love somebody and tell them not to keep cheating on their wives. You could still love somebody and tell them to stop their swearing. You know, that's love. But some Christians say that you can't do that. You can't do that at all, because it's just finger pointing and whatever, judging, which is not it at all. Because the Bible says many times throughout the Gospels that we are to rebuke and, lift up our brothers. We're to work all this stuff out. We're to tell our brother or sisters, that they may be, if, doing something they may not be aware of, and that, that it's wrong. We don't do it out of hate or spite or anything like that, or judging or finger pointing. No, we do it out of love, but you still got to do it. You don't sit back and just ignore it and say, it's okay, brother. We still love you. That's it. I know a few people like that, and it's to me, it's almost cultic, do that without any reproach whatsoever to a brother or sister that may be harming themselves and whoever else they're hanging around. That stuff, what TV does, it spreads, it programs. People are not going to like to hear that either. But anyway, Microsoft, yeah, Windows 10, all that stuff. We've talked about all that stuff before. They can go in, they can take files out, put something in maybe. Yeah, why do you think, isn't a business supposed to be making money? So why would they give away a product? It's all about the money. And I found this interesting. Brisbane News. Apparently, the third temple will be built soon. There's a lot of talk about that, and in many different aspects of it. They've already got a lot of the pieces that they need to build already built, just waiting for the temple itself. Just the brick and mortar thing. Now they found this unique precious stone found in Carmel. Yeah, and that's what makes it worth a lot of money. The more unique it is, harder to find, the more precious and more expensive it could be worth. So anyway, a company founded on the prophetic advice of the Shabbat rabbi has found a type of gemstone unique to Israel, the outer space, or an outer space. I don't know what the heck he's talking about there. But anyway, last week, the International Mineralogical Association recognized a new distinct mineral discovered by Shafi Yemen, the only mining company searching for precious gems in Israel. The mineral is embedded in sapphire and is named Carmelizite, for the Carmel Mountains, the location of its discovery, and the trace minerals it contains: titanium, aluminum, and zirconium. It will be marketed under the name Carmel Sapphire. The largest stone company found to date weighed in at 33.3 carats. Boy, what about that number, huh? 333. Yeah, 3 is, 3. 3 days, 3 nights. A lot of propheticness in those that weight, those numbers, right? So after density testing, it was shown to be harder than diamond. So now diamond was supposed to be the hardest. Now we got something supposedly harder than diamond. Well, we know Israel is going to be, how do you say it, envied because of their wealth. I mean, look at the past couple of years. They've found all this gas and other things. Oil, I mean, you name it. Israel has come up with all this stuff. Now so Gog, Magog, that type of thing, may happen. They may come down even under good pretenses like Russia or Gog, Magog, whatever, and just be there to steal their wealth. But in any ways, gotta remember that, okay? The weight in at 33.3 carats. That's probably why they put it in there, but it's a special number. Threes. 3 times. We are delighted that our Carmel sapphire has been recognized as a host to many rare minerals. CEO of Yemen said in a statement, in today's world, where the prices of gems is determined predominantly by their rarity, the Carmel sapphire is a unique discovery because it has not been found anywhere else in the world. Wow. That's something. Quality or quantity of the Carmelizite hidden under the Carmel Mountains is still unknown, but if it is sufficiently rare, it may prove to be more valuable than diamonds. I'm just wondering if this was the same stuff, minerals, whatever they found in another mountain. Maybe it's the same thing. I've heard about something like this, I don't know, 6 months ago. Other rare stuff in their mountains. But I don't remember it being this Carmelizite, however you want to say that. It was something else. May have been some other material that is rare too. And they have that as well. Other than that, just waiting for that third temple to be built, right? They have everything else to place in it. All the wealth of Israel. All right, so this is the last article we got here. Just for those who want to know, it has nothing to do with anything in particular, I guess. But, again, as I've heard this before, found at last. Amelia Earhart's plane may be in Papua New Guinea's waters. You have photos. I've actually seen a movie where they found this Earhart plane, and it was on an island just off the coast of the island in the waters. They told you about this a long time ago. This is a new article. I've seen the movie. I'm trying to remember the name of the movie. So these researchers with Project Blue Angel are preparing to continue their investigation this year of an aircraft crash site off the coast of Papua New Guinea's Buka Island that they believe likely holds the remains of Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra 10E. So there's the island. So the iconographic American aviator and her navigator, Fred Noonan, went missing on July 2nd, 1937, during a flight from Papua New Guinea to Helens Island, an uninhabited coral island that lies between Hawaii and Australia. Noonan and Earhart were declared dead in absentia in 1938 and 1939, respectively. Why were they declared dead when you couldn't find them only a year later? Don't you have to wait like 7 years in order for somebody to be legally, anyway, declared dead? Or is that just with marriage dissolutions or something? I don't know. So, anyways, I've heard these stories before. That, he may have finally been found. Yeah, or the Bermuda Triangle got him. Whatever. There's always been stories. I kind of hope that it is and put it to rest for Pete's sake. I want to find out what brought him down. Did they run out of gas? Weather or what? I don't know. So, although the entirety of the Snaveley's collected data has yet to be completely reviewed, of course, by experts, initial reports suggest that a piece of glass from the site may be from the Electra's landing light. Snavely has also theorized that Earhart likely turned back towards Papua New Guinea after noting that her aircraft was running low on fuel. Speculation, how do you know? What? The data? So anyways, here's a couple pictures. Well, it was. They said a couple. So we get two. One on the island and one underneath the island. Not really underneath. All right. Well, that's about it, people. God bless everyone. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Hope that the Lord takes hold of you and you of Him, and that you just have many gifts and blessings for this weekend and many, many praise reports. Your testimonies. Your testimony is important. So with that, keep an eye on your family. Keep them always around you. Love them, forgive them, and always know where they are, what they're doing. In touch. Pretty important. Family. Adam and Eve to where we are now. We're all family. God bless everyone. Peace out.